Hello everyone, it's my pleasure having you once again on this segment on newspaper review here in First Next News Sport Accord. I am Kings Ojalo. Happy prosperous new year once again. Now without not wasting much of our time, let me take you through all our newspaper headlines on all newspaper platforms. Sit back, relax while I take you through. First on our list we have the Voice of Liberty. Boldly written on the Voice of Liberty we have Liberty TVR names Obasani Governor of the year 2025. We also have Udume urge FG to resettle Bono IDPs. We also have on that newspaper platform, Tinubu hails Obasani at 55, praises pro-democracy roots, inclusive governors in Kaduna. We also have political parties registration. ADA accuses INEC of working for ruling party. Now let's move to our next newspaper platform. On the Daily Monitor newspaper, on top of the Daily Monitor, no plans to turn Nigeria into one-party state, says APC. Boldly written on the Daily Monitor, despite criticisms, Tinubu insists new tax laws commence January 1st, 2026. We also have Rivers will correct leadership mistake in 2027. That is coming from the FCT Minister, Yinsun Wike. Now moving to the leadership newspaper. On the top of the leadership newspaper, we have court remands Malami son in Kuje prison till January 2nd. That is in page 6 of the leadership newspaper. We have in page 30 of the leadership newspaper, domestic airlines recorded 765 flight delays in Q3, says Aviation Authority. Now boldly written on the leadership newspaper, Tinubu rejects calls for delay, insists implementation begins January 1st. That is in page 4 of the leadership newspaper. Now we also have Minister mourns several journalists killed in Gombe road crash. Page 24 of the leadership newspaper. We have federal government denies alleged plot to arrest opposition politicians. That is in page 23 of the leadership newspaper. Now, still on the leadership newspaper, 23 killed, 2 injured in Jigawa auto crash. You find that in page 7 of the leadership newspaper. Now, moving ahead to our next newspaper platform, which is This Day newspaper. We also have on the top of the This Day newspaper, alleged 9 billion naira fraud. Court remains ex-AGF Malami son, a lady in Kuje prison. Now, moving ahead on This Day newspaper, Tinubu new tax laws take off January 1st. CBN project $51.4 billion external reverse. Now, still on This Day newspaper, King Charles honors Will Idem with guide commander of Victorian Order. President hails ministers. Now, moving to the next newspaper platform, we have on the next newspaper platform, Nigeria Tribune. On the top of the Nigeria Tribune, we have how APC tsunami reshapes Nigeria geopolitical map in 2025. We have that in page 17 and page 20 of the Nigeria Tribune. We also have federal government denies plot to target opposition figure. We find that in page 2 of the Nigeria Tribune. Boldly written on the Nigeria Tribune, new tax laws take off January 1st, Tinubu says. You find that in page 3 of the Nigeria Tribune. We also have in page 5, CBN projects 4.49% GDP growth in 2026. You find that in page 5 of the Nigeria Tribune. Air offensive, overwhelming bandits in Zamfara. Military source. You find that in page 2 and 3 of the Nigeria Tribune. Now let's go to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper, on the top of the Guardian newspaper, PDP shrinks in Oyo as Aboris Sade lead supporters to ADC. That is in page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. We have also in page 3, NICOM insists on July 30th recapitalization rules out extension. That is in page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have in page 7, FRSC restrains caution as British envoy governor visit Joshua in Lagos hospital. Or still on the Guardian newspaper, cooking gas, over 20 million households sticks to firewood, charcoal over affordability. Yes. We also have in page 6, Tinubu ignores suspension, cause insists new tax laws take off tomorrow. That is in page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Now we have in page 5, court reminds Malami son over money laundering charges. We also have in page 5, we will fix Rivers leadership mistake in 2027. That is coming from the FCT minister once again, Wike, which he declares 2027 we won't accept excuses of glitches, but the judge tells INEC boss. We also have in page 15, 12 trillion naira 2026 debts may tighten liquidity to private sectors, CBN warns. Tribute for the Guardian ex-co late Alex Tomopoulos at 78. Now moving to the Matrix newspaper. On top of the Matrix newspaper, Dangote woes marketers with 10 days fuel subsidy facility. That is in page 3 of the Matrix newspaper. We have FG dismisses allegations of targeting opposition. You find that as well in the page 3 of the Matrix newspaper. Ekiti 2026, we will meet in court. PDP threatens INEC over exclusion of candidate. You find that in page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. So going back in January 1st, tax laws implementation dates. That's coming from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Tinubu. Find that in page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. We also have money laundering trial. Court orders Malami family remanded in Kuje. You find that in page 3 of the Matrix newspaper. Kebbi Hospital explosion. Accident, no explosive involved. Police. That is in page 9 of the Matrix newspaper. AFCON, Nigeria sweeps Uganda aside. Tunisia, Tanzania draw. Find that in page 25 of the Matrix newspaper. We have Tinubu appoints EFCC's Rotimi Oyedipo as Director of Public Prosecutors. I take that again. Tinubu appoints EFCC Rotimi Oyedipo as Director of Public Prosecutions. That is in page 2 of that newspaper platform. Now going to the Punch newspaper. On the top of the Punch newspaper, 2026 budget. 10 state plans 4.3 trillion naira borrowing. You find that in page 31 of the Punch newspaper. FX reserve to hit $51 billion by 2026. That's coming from CBN, page 33 of the Punch newspaper. Military arrests suicide bomber, recovers 189 AK-47 rifles. You find that in page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Boldly written on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu insists on January 1st for new tax regime. That is in page 2 of the Punch newspaper. On the bottom line, Lagos Plaza death toll hit 5 as fire rises another market. I take that again. Lagos Plaza death toll hit 5 as fire rises another market. You find that in page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Rivers lawmakers reject Fubara Christmas gift. Wike opposes automatic ticket. You find that in page 30 of the Punch newspaper. PDP sues INEC over candidate exclusion from Ekiti poll. That is in page 14 of the Punch newspaper. Now moving to the Daily Independence. On the Daily Independence, insecurity, high cost orders make farmers vulnerable despite improved harvest in 2025. Now going to the next news there. FG denies claims to arrest detained opposition figures. Now boldly written on the Daily Independence. PDP kicks as Tinubu insists new tax laws starts tomorrow. You find that in page 29 of the Daily Independence. We also have CBN project 4.49% GDP growth, inflation cooling as reforms deepens. Now in page 7, Ekiti Goba, PDP heads to court to compel INEC to include its candidates. We have Malami's son, co-defendants arraigned, remanded in Kuje prison. That is page 7. We are ready to receive Governor Yusuf, APC. That is in page 6. Now moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the First Daily newspaper. Top of the First Daily, dirty money trial. Court throws Malami family into Kuje prison. Now boldly written, no retreats. Tinubu insists new tax laws take effect January 2026. We also have EFCC arraigned Pao Chief Financial Commissioner over alleged 5.7 billion naira fraud. 2027 shock poll, 77% wants to vote, fear insecurity. That's coming for Yaga. There we also have explosion at Kebbi Hospital causes by overheating, not bomb police. Now we also have insurance firms panic as NICOM rejects deadline extension. Now we have Rivers 2027, we won't repeat past leadership errors. That is coming from the FCT minister in Sunwike. Tinubu named EFCC insider Oyedikpo new chief prosecutor. Now we also have 7 journalists die in horror Gombe car crash. Now moving to the last newspaper we have for today on the Daily Trust newspaper. Amid uproar, Tinubu declares tax law effective January 1st. Amid uproar, Tinubu declares tax laws effective January 1st. We also have on the bottom line, 7 trillion naira NNPCL debts waiver draw flag. We have on the top, President Tinubu 2025 unfulfilled promises. We also have 22 die, several other injured in Jigawa road crashes. We also have on the bottom line, World ESCO expect Kano NNPP chair. You find that in page 15 of the bottom line on the Daily Trust newspaper. In page 24, money laundering. Malami son remanded in Kuje prison. We have in page 24 as well, mob attacks Kano NSCTC outpost leeches 3 suspects. That is all we have for you on this segment on newspaper review on First Nest News. I remain your humble host, Kings Ojalo. It's a bye for now.